Just let us check. Yes, so yeah, I think it is popped up. So let's get started. Primarily, what we are going to discuss is about a couple of questions I received on Python, and we can go beyond also as per time available, and we can take up as much question. But there are already 6 or 7 questions are there, and we will discuss in detail these questions. And I hope this will also help other folks also to have some clarity that what exactly these questions is actually primarily asked from one angle, which is the business intelligence angle, but I think this can be also elaborated in some other angles as well. So similar like idea or notion we can apply in some other angle. I will elaborate furthermore. Okay, while we will proceed, but as of now, I'll pause here. Just let me check the sound is going there or not. I think, yeah, I think sound is going.
Yep, I can hear you.
Yes, awesome. Oh, yeah, thanks, Saurav. So let's get started. First question I received is, what are the open source data wrangling and data science and automation tools are available? So this is first question. So this is very interesting, by the way, because in fact, prior to receiving this question, I haven't even think of that what are the core libraries are there in general which directly supports with Python. Okay, so open source, see, first of all, open source, when you say there are multiple tools, Python is one of them. It's not that only Python available. There are other open source tools which can help us to wrangle the data or, okay, if I summarize this, if I little bit emphasize what does this mean? This means is that if I have any unstructured data to make it structure. So for example, I can give couple of example also so that while exploring this also we can relate what exactly this mean. Okay, so just give me a second. So yeah, I think this should be good. Is it okay? So I wanted to explain this part. Okay. So what exactly this mean is I have a data. So imagine I have a date format, and the date format is something like that. I need it. I need a date format in this. Okay. So date, then I need month, and then I need, let's say, 2020 year. Okay. This is the date format I required for some kind of analysis or some kind of processing. Okay, but actually wherever whichever XYZ system, maybe it is a processor, maybe it is a application or web portal, we are getting this with some ad hoc information. So XYZ information is there, and then I have the space or there are special character, then I have the date. So this is how the data I am receiving. This is how I am receiving the data. So this is not going to help us, correct? In order to make it helpful, what we need to have is that the data which I'm receiving is in structure form so that we can consume in our analysis. So on that time, this data wrangling packages comes into picture. So question was is what are the open source data wrangling, data science and okay, data science and automation open source packages are there. So see, there are many for data wrangling. Primarily, we use, I am right now emphasizing on as of now, but there are beyond Python also options are available. So I'll go back here. I'll go to the pointer and I'll delete this, go to this. So primarily I was exploring that. So if you see pandas, I think it is already open. I was exploring, yeah, pandas. So this is one of the library which actually help. So you can see couple of things are already mentioned. Data alignment, you can do reading and writing data, missing data we can identify, reshape, we can means change the shape of the data, and we can slice. This is what the wrangling is. So if I have a data, I'll go back to my point which I outlined, that how exactly I'm slicing the data and making it correct. So data slicing and fancy indexing, subsetting, size, okay, mutabilize, I will say, and size mutability, we can handle the size also. So we can perform this set of actions right away with this particular package, which is pandas. So if I go back, so I will go back to the example that how exactly these features will help. So I go back and do undo. So this is the date, but I need only this value, correct? On that time, in general, with these like libraries or packages, it helps us to only segregate this particular value right away. So we can actually read only this value, and this particular value we can remove. Top of it, we can perform a regular expression in order to, let's say, there are some text or special character that also with the help of regular expression we can do. So pandas is one of them which can slice the data, which can little bit remove the noises, and top of it we can perform other activities, other operation in order to get this data like this in a structure format. And this is I'm giving in a date as an example, but we can go beyond, and actually we can go beyond and we can perform this kind of operation in any kind of value. It is maybe date, it can be text, or it can be numeric numbers. We can actually apply this kind of like data manipulation in any kind of data. So that's where this comes into picture. So I hope data wrangling package, I just referred one. There are many others in R also. There are packages through which we can do it, and not only packages, I will rather call library or functionality. And there are multiple open source functionality available which can literally alter, manipulate, read and write data and make it structure as much as possible. Yeah, there are also, like, let's imagine there are letters. So for example, there are source, I'm going into detail. There are source, imagine I have a file. In that file there are, it is mentioned like 211, and it is very close, and maybe there is some noise. Can it read this? Can this be read as one? So these kind of things, these are limitations we can't directly handle with wrangling. That's where the option comes in. So that, in order to even angle sorry data manipulate this kind of scenario, it will be really complex, and then advanced concept or manual approaches we follow nowadays. That's the aspect of it. Now the data science, see, we don't need to tell, there are so many packages open source only. When you say Python and R, it is actually open source. So these are all actually open source packages which we are consuming. So all of them are actually open source packages, and we are leveraging them only right away. So if I go back, okay, this is interesting. So just a second. I think, yeah. Okay, so this is another point. Now go back to data science. So there are all the libraries whichever you are observing are there. So what are the primary library? Okay, so primarily library in data science I will highlight. So for various stages we have various libraries. Okay, so I'll say core Python data. Okay, so core Python data science libraries. So if you find there are many libraries available, and you can find it here, and these are all open source. Okay, these are all open source. Now I will address, there are also, so you can see pandas, one of them, numpy for numeric operation, matplotlib for plotting, then we have scikit-learn also for plotting. So these are the libraries. So you can see top 5 libraries for data science. So there are libraries. These are most frequent use, but there are other based on your context and like utility. You can, or we find out that is there any functionality related to that, and do I have library associated to it with it? And if yes, then we go for those libraries and consume it. So you can see TensorFlow. This is for deep learning primarily, and app creation. NumPy for numeric operation. SciPy is again I will say scientific operation primarily, as well as for I will say statistical representation also we can perform with this. Pandas, then we have matplotlib. This is for again data manipulation, data wrangling, and matplotlib is for data visualization. So these are the core like packages comes into picture. So I think this is clear. Now if I go back, so this is data science library and our automation. So there are automation libraries also. So for automation, what we do? So first of all, this is a very interesting point. When we say that can we automate with open source packages or libraries, can we do that? That's the question. The answer is yes. Now, in order to answer this, we need to understand what exactly task we automate. What are the tasks we actually automate? That is the question we need to understand. The task we automate primarily is the task which you automate. Either we read some value, we write some value, we manipulate some value, or else we navigate some information. or navigate from one file to another file, from one app to another app. These are the actions. So these are actions, correct? And these actions are, so again, if I highlight, okay, so what are the type of action we actually automate? So let's have a look. So if I go back here, just a second. So this is very critical, okay? It will give you also very good idea that what exactly we are targeting for. Okay, just give me a moment. Yeah, so yeah, here only I'm highlighting it. So when we say automate, I'm highlighting this part, that can we, with the open source, can we automate? The answer is yes. So when we say automate, so what are the action we in general automate? So either we are reading some value, either we are writing some value, either we are navigating it. Okay, these are the core action. Apart from that, either we are performing a logical operation. Okay, either we are performing logical operation, either we are doing analysis. Now this is an exception. Apart from all these are static action: reading, writing, navigating, logic. These are all static action. These are all static action. What do I mean by static action? Static action means this is straightforward, a straight through process or straightforward action. So if I have to read, I know what is the destination. So static action means it has an input, it is always fixed, it has an input, it has a process, and it has an output always. So when I read, if understand this action, read means I need a target from where I wanted to read, and I will read that particular file. There is a file format I need, which I need to process, and I'll showcase that somewhere, or I will extract in a certain format. So this is structured. When I write, I again need an input value from where I will write it, where I will write it. Okay, no, sorry, what I will write, that value as an input, then where I am writing, so it will identify the window or page and all, that is the processing part, and output the application where it needs to be right. So this is how this context is connected, writing. Then coming to the navigation part. In navigation also, I need input that where I wanted to navigate, what I wanted to navigate. Is it a click or double click or which kind of navigation, and output what exactly I wanted to perform, operation I want to perform. So all this automation actually static except analysis. Analysis actually comes under not direct automation. So it is again comes under, there are specific library, open library where we can analyze. So analyze is very vast topic. So we need to understand what we wanted to analyze. Do I wanted to analyze the images? I wanted to analyze web pages. I wanted to analyze the text which I have. I wanted to analyze the tweet I have. What exactly I want to analyze? Based on that, the package I need to decide. So this is optional. This is, I will say, different. And another point is networking. So there is in certain time there will be a power. I will say session will start. It's a PowerShell session. So networking also a task is there, that also we automate, correct? Networking task also we automate, and that can also be automated with PowerShell, and there are other scripting language we can use in order to automate it. Now these all activity, what is common? The static, and it has input, output, and all. Primarily, in order to do this, we we use Python core functions. So we don't need to even go beyond. So there are also certain Python core functions are there. So Python core functions are there. So for example, core function by default, Python itself, we can apply, oops concept we can apply, and based on that system. So in system, all the system related operation we'll find there by default. Then there is file related operation will find there. All the file manipulation we can do. So file related dedicated operations are there by default. So based on my task, I need to find the library and I can target, and that task can be automated, and I need to execute that file. So what is the major task is, or major challenge is, once you create the script, how you will get actually execute. That's why we need a tool or ID in order to do that. So that is also possible, but it's not a big challenge, but it is also done. But in an enterprise level, script level execution does not happen in a production. So imagine I am in a production environment. Do my user will open a script and run that? No, correct? So they will run, either I will, there is a command via Power Script or via CMD command. We will trigger that script, and that script will do the automation from them. So that is the task. So end-to-end activity actually can be done with these additional packages which I just highlighted. So these are the three aspects. I think this question I think I have addressed, but I'll pause here. Shoro, is that clear for you, or do you have any other question? because we need to.
Yeah, no, this is clear enough. So, regarding the automation part, so the question that I had is like, what are the what are the why is this not being done? I mean, for automation, we know that for I mean, in SSIS packages, we can include Python scripts, and that can be deployed in Alteryx. We can use Python script. I don't know if UiPath can include Python scripts, but maybe I mean, you RPA developer uses automation everywhere. Blue Prism. Uh, can we see a time that like the blue prism will be completely out of the picture and the whole thing will be like something only with open source tools like Apache Airflow and only Python or R script.
Good.
I mean, companies would always want to do some cost optimization, and this is the best cost optimization they can find.
Exactly. I understand your point. Let me answer or respond you back. So how exactly it works, Ona? Very interestingly. So I think that is somewhere here also you have outlined that question. So what are in demand? So always, so all the packages I highlighted, whichever is required, those are in demand. So if you take, okay, market demand, what are the core actions are in demand right now? So I'll say, see, basic activity right now they are using with the scripting. So what are the actions primarily they automate with scripting? So first language or first action they automate. What are the things are in demand? Our actions are in demand. First is file management, I will say. So based on, I'm saying there is also context. Okay, so there is, so this is from the operation point of view. From operation point of view, these are the pointers are in demand. This from the operation point of view, but beyond that also, beyond operation point of view as well, we can look into other aspects. So operation point of view, file I need to manage, I need to analyze the data. So that related library I will refer for file management one, analyze the data. What other activities? So let's say file management, analyzing the data, creating dashboard comes under analysis only. Apart from that, file management is very big task, and database. So database integration, database pipeline creation, database queries, all these tasks, these are operations. Couple of these pointers coming in my mind, I am highlighting right away. Okay, so these three actions are now coming back to the, let's say, software related is a huge. So based on your requirement which are in demand, so in operation there are certain libraries, certain open source actions or activity will be in demand. In software there are certain, so in software there are framework which comes in. So the Django, I will say Django or Flask comes into picture. In Python related, this is also open source. Apart from that, there are other open source also, but I am just emphasizing on Python part as of now. So these framework are there in software related. Now if you go to analysis or data science related, there are also certain libraries which is I already highlighted in previous session or previous context, that what are the library in general we refer. So that's how, based on your context, those things comes into demand. So in certain, if you are in operation, you will be hearing that these related packages you will be consuming more. If you are a software development, you will be consuming these packages more. If you are in data science, you will consuming certain packages more. That's how it is distributed. So what is in demand, it depend on which industry, which domain you are actually working on. Based on that, that demand decided. But overall, if you see, all are based on requirement, it becomes demand, correct? So that I will say. Now I will highlight that there is a very nice question that, can that be so very good notion I will highlight. Okay, this is very interesting notion, that can there be any point that we will be mostly consuming the can there be any point where we'll be mostly consuming the programming rather than these external tools. So external tool can be anything. So external tool can be anything when I highlight it. For example, okay, what is the context? The question is, can we consume fully programmed programming language rather than these tools, because these tools in a backend using programming itself? Then why we are not using the programming which is open source? There is no license, there is no cost involved, rather we using tool nowadays. That's the question. Now I'll highlight a couple of points, very interesting point to observe. Okay, so understand these tools which we are referring. So for example, sorry, so if I highlight, so when I say tool, we are referring tools such as ETL tools, or let's say analysis related tool. Yeah, analysis related tools, or let's say data science related tools, machine learning related tools, or let's say deep learning related tools, and data visualization related tools, analysis and data visualization related tools. These are tools. There are multiple tools under these stacks, correct? There are ML related, there are there are many tools, there are deep learning related many tools, data science many tools, ETL many tools. The tools are there. The tools are what? So there are two set of people who work in an organization. Primarily the users, so consumer of course, and the technical people. Technical people create the tool for the consumer, and the consumers are user in the organization. So user will be not be much more technical. They are not expecting them to develop a application from end to end usability. That's where they, because these things are required, these things I can also consume, I can achieve with the libraries or whatever open source packages we have from various languages. Maybe it is I require to consume C sharp, or maybe I need to require to consume Python, or I need to consume any other programming language. But why they create a the application? The reason is that can be consumed by any user. They don't know the programming, and most of the, see, everybody, so in enterprise, in XYZ company, they have a application. Why they are creating this application with these languages? Because there is certain people they don't know, but they are end user of it. That's why they need to learn, they need to know only this tool, they don't need to know the programming. So there are consumer and there are developer. So the, if it is development based, then you say, hey, directly we use the packages. And if it is user using it, then we require this application to be developed and consumed by this user. And definitely, because they have created, there are support required, upgradation required, they will add the cost against it. That's the rationale behind it. That's why they have this tool as well as the library concept. So why we are not directly consuming the library? Because there are people who don't go through the scripting code and all, and there is a structural format required people to understand and refer. So if it is library, everyone will be not able to refer it. But if it is a tool, everybody able to relate it. Oh, this is how the data look like. So Power BI, I can achieve that same thing with Python packages. Similar kind of analysis I can do there also. And whatever data crunching you do, I can do that package with that packages also. But why I have Power BI such a tool, data visualization tool? The reason is it can be used by the people who don't know the coding behind it. They are just the end user who need to visualize it. That's why there is that, that's why these tools or UI come into picture, and why it is chargeable, why it is not free. However, they are built top of it, they have built or used these free libraries because they are providing service and upgradation charge. That's why this is not free. There is charge cost involved around it. That's the rationale behind it in a high level. Okay, I hope this is clear. I'm jumping back to the third question. At the end, I will address if any point I have missed. Okay, I think a lot of point will be already clear.
Yeah, this answers it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So coming back to the third point, recently we see Python or data science term being used a lot, and there is a lot of hype around this. Is it really worth the hype? Okay, so very nice point. If I go back, sorry. Very nice point. I'm just yeah, checking it. Yeah, so here we are hearing data science can create a job, X number of job, and with every learning data science can their supply, okay, supply of data science folks be greater than demand eventually? Very interesting question. There are two part of question. First part is what recently, okay, so is it a hype or it is a reality? Okay, so I think one of the session I like had earlier where I described that how exactly uh, so it's that session is actually reference I already highlighted that in this current decade, okay, in this present decade, there is one thing significantly happened, and that happened is the expand of social media and the data or digital data. 10 years back we don't have this much digital data. When I say digital data, it is huge. Like everything I'm doing, I'm recording this content is digital data. People are watching this is digital data. I will upload this is digital data. It is generating that fingerprint there. Now, so that there are I can keep on go and go and go on. Okay, everything is now system driven. Every work, even a basic payment you are making is system driven. Even the rickshaw you're booking is a system driven. You are ordering some food is system driven. You are capturing your body information with some application like Feedback or Apple Watch is system driven. So this is all generating data, and that data, just imagine if that much data we have, literally we can out find out meaning meaning out of it, because earlier that capability we don't have. Correct. And this is, I am just telling the which we know. These are the things we know. But imagine this is just the, I will say, outer layer or external, or the, I will say, tip of the iceberg. Pointers which I mentioned is just tip of the iceberg. But if you go in any typical process, there are, if I talk any process, let's say insurance or let's say banking, imagine how what data they have now, how much data they have now. And when they have this much data, what they cannot, what they cannot see, they can see literally anything, any information which they require. There is no privacy. Internally they can see anything, how much money I consume, where I consume, what I see, anything they can see. Correct. Of course they don't reveal that, that's a different point, that is their privacy rules. Correct. But literally they have every information they can imagine. Correct. And they are now putting that into context, and that context is being built with this data science branch. So I had a very detailed session in a previous session. You can guys, if you go 2 3 post back, I took a session, and then in the description I post couple of video, and I explain this in very detail. What is data? I only explain the data, what is data and why it is. So that context would be helpful here. But I'll say there are huge data. Definitely we need to put science behind it. How we can leverage this in a greater extent. That's the logic. That's the concept behind it, and that's we are trying to drive here or achieve here. Correct. So that's why this is not at all hype. It is reality, because we have data and which we cannot even handle that much. We have not imagined. So so when we have that many ways the data is generating, imagine how many optimization we can do, how many prediction we can do, how many things we can in advance can predict. So it's like beyond our imagination. Okay, just a example coming in a very hypothetical, this black hole for that a few scientists received the Nobel Prize. What this is, can they see it? Can they see really physically? They receive that as a data only, and they process it, and then they are representing, hey, there is something, it's look like this image, and we processed it, and after observing these many days, it is confirmed that there is a this kind of field, and which is beyond our imagination, and it is in this distance. It's data only. So I'm just giving very hypothetical, also very high level overview, guys. But I can see a very simple, explanation also. Imagine if you go for a COVID test, what they are actually checking, the temperature. There are certain data they are capturing, and based on that, they're declaring, hey, these guys, even they are testing your blood or something, some sample, that is also data driven. They are checking, is this platelet is this much, glucose is this much, is this having this level, XYZ component is high in my blood. Based on that, that that input, they are deciding that yes, this person is COVID positive or negative. So it is data driven. So just imagine if this is all things are data driven, don't you think that we need more data literate people? First is data literate, let alone we apply the science top of it. Science is again beyond our understanding right now, and it is exponentially growing. After, I will say, 2012, there are huge R&D happen, and based on that, it is exponentially growing right now, and a lot of people, a lot of organization investing on this. And this is not incidental. This is not happen like accidentally. Sorry, this is actually uh, based on the incident which is happening. This is not accidental that suddenly it happened. No, no, no. We've been observing data for a long time. We have observed this data for very long time. Now we see we have the we have the processing speed to process those data. We have the storing space to storing that data, even in cloud or natives, anywhere where we want. So we have these basic things to capture the data I have. I have the processing power. Just I need that two component to make meaning out of it. So these all context are feeding, it's like all puzzles are getting connected, and now I have everything in order to make sense out of it. That's where, so it is not at all hype, it is reality. But the practicality, even we don't know what to do with that data. It's like we have it, but if I share a, imagine a dump of data from any data diary, if you're not aware of this, how to consume it, you will not make meaning out of it. You will don't know what to do with this data. That's why the people who are not able to realize or visualize that how powerful this could be, they are saying, hey, it is meaningless. It is literally hype. This there is nothing. What we are getting out of it, what you are getting, you will not get sudden result, correct? It is a eventual process. You have to go, you have to understand the pattern. We have to create that pattern. It was not there. It was not, we were not capable of creating that pattern. We will create that pattern. Then we will start consuming it. So it is, in my view, because I'm not just saying that there is rational behind it. I'm presenting that also. So you can evaluate. It's up to you. You think as a hype, because hype or reality, it's a individual perception, and that perception, I just provided a supportive insight, and based on that, you can make a your own conscious choice. Is it a hype? Do you think, or you think it's reality? I leave it up to you. So this was the first part of it. Second part of it, we are hearing data science will create job XYZ. Of course, since the data is increasing, there are related jobs will increase, correct, by default. So with everyone learning data science, okay, there will be any greater, okay, so if I simplified that there are jobs which is being created, which is fine. Is there any time that, the demand, the data science folks be greater than demand eventually? This is always there, I will rather say. Just give me a second for, and excuse me for the background noise, guys. Give me a moment. Okay, so yeah, I'm back. So yeah, second part, there are two aspect to it. One is we are hearing data science will create jobs. So I given you, I will request you to evaluate, is it reality or not reality. You do your R&D to explore that. I leave up to you, and that will be much better rather than listening from anybody. You check, you find a pattern, that is it like, okay. What kind of information about me I can extract? Can I find information that how much time I sleep, or what are the how much calorie I eat? Can I find out how much expenses I did? Okay, I can. Okay, all the three above answer is yes. Okay, so that means there are these are being tracked. So if these are being tracked, that these are data driven. If these are data driven, definitely somebody processing in the back end. And if it is processing somebody back end, there is a human process involved. So by default, you analyze like this: is it really reality, or it is just hoax? So think about that. Putting
Right.
point is correct. So another is data science folks or greater. See, this is always question. We can alter this question a little bit. Can I ask that? Can we have that? So see, today also we have a lot of people who are saying that they are into data science, or they know data science. So the question, my question would be, do you considering those people also in this group? So if you consider, then we are already over demand. We have everybody, people are there saying that, hey, we know data and we are handling, then we are already over demand. But if you say really who I will say devoting, who are understanding, who are analyzing the pattern, who are completely devoting this to study and solving real problem, how many people, how many those people we have? And again, when we say this is a very broader time, I will rather say it's a vague term, because there is nothing as such data science. Okay, we are calling it data science, but nothing as such means it is not a one trade. It is multiple stream is embedding. I can have a different session on this and explain in bit more detail that what are the streams are connected to it. It's not like, hey, it's like computer science. I studied computer science this on one particular stack I selected, and that stack. No, it is beyond that. It is, there is no one stack. There is a in this, in this particular domain, there is a cloud involved, there is a big data involved, there is a, of course, programming involved, there is mathematics involved, science involved. So can you say that one person having all this stack? No, correct. So what I mean to say, so if there is a DS role, data science role, then in this data science role there are multiple other opportunities are there. So it's not that one person, they claim it one person, but literally, practically, if you see, it is impossible to one person to handle all the aspect. Not possible. They will be not able to finish one project in certain time. If they wanted to finish a project in certain time, there are multiple people has to be involved in expertise to their respective demand. So for example, web people is there, there is a cloud people is there, there is cloud people are there, then there is a, I will say, yeah, I will say stat people are there, stat people who actually evaluating, creating the models for them. And there are, so stat and DS is for, okay, main person, we cannot like create it, but other, let's say, API creation, there are team are there, depend on the which context you are working on. And this all, so it's not only one person. When it is a, I will say, data scientist, under or simultaneously to him to support, that other people are also supporting. There will be a point where, of course, because if you keep on learning and what, how do I say it, nothing is like, this is not infinite, correct? That is growing, and we need only, because eventually there is a concept called automation. So when we'll reach a certain extent, automation will attack this process, and I'll say, hey, we can automate. And now only we need the best people who knows this end to end and who can really generate values out of it. Then we will only keep those people. So the answer is yes, we will reach it, but I think we will never reach a point where we will have the educate mind who are completely or centrally focused on this. That people will be always in demand and always in, I will say, lesser than the supply, lesser than the demand always, because those people finding very difficult. It is like, I will say, in millions you will find maybe 100. So that's the ratio, and those people would be required to actually drive this domain. But other, all this, I will say, sub domain is also critical, and that also you need to consider. So this will be always there, and I will rather say, no need to even think future, because you never know, these all things are getting merged. So it will look something different, maybe 3 years down the line. So you no need to go in, look into beyond a certain time. So maybe 3 years down the line, completely context has changed. So even this question is irrelevant, then you will not ask data science. It has merged to some other stream, and you will ask that, is this now, is it valid? Then the question definition would by default will change. So I think I have tried to explain this part also. And moving to the next point, which is why are we? So the next point is this. Okay, so the next point is this. Why are we not hearing Python use case for other processes like automation and ETLC? There is always use case. These are does not get in surface, because what you will be able to hear in a organization context or use case, what use case they say, they publish, which is sellable. What you can, what a company can market, the company can only market a product which is sellable. Now, when they create a which is sellable, okay, understand this point, very critical point, okay. When you will hear about a use case, when it is a sellable and it is very huge impactful, understand this point. Fair enough. Now, now there are two type of update use case. There are certain internal use case. There are certain external use case. Now, these with the coding and open source tool, there are internal internally these get consumed, and these are actually consumed internally. That the tool is created, this supporting tool and components are created and consumed internally, and the internally use case gets circulated also across industry, that does not get into publicly. When that get into publicly, just it mentioned that Python, we consume Python and so in order to achieve it, we achieve the same equivalent of task. But when it is in public domain, they are not telling that what that tool is all about. They just say Python and these programming or packages we consume. So you are thinking, hey, what they use is, have they used anything? And but actually in the supporting process they are using external languages and open source languages, but it is not publicly available, because that not at all I will say sellable point. Okay, it is a sellable point in internal calls, in a project specific calls, but not in the, I will say, organization or enterprise level, or that can't be sellable. They will, when it is converted into product, then only they can sell it. But prior to product, I'm consuming with a programming language, a script, a certain script to do some action. Can they sell it? They can sell it to internal people that I we do have certain scripts and which doing this activity, data wrangling. We have 20 script which do this activity. You can consume it. That is internal. That they can't put it across. And even they put it across, they will change the entire name. They will say we have these tools which set up, which comprise of this this logic, and then they will sell it. That's why you are not hearing the so many open source use cases. But I believe 100% there are. We just need to explore them a little bit. We need to explore definitely all the tool behind that. These open source tools are only there mostly. And why they are not using tool directly or creating, why they are not using programming rather than ETL? Because I told that ETL, what is the skill set a company looking for? That ETL would be done by a person who is techno functional, not for all the people. It is not all everyone's cup of tea to handle a programming and scripting and do it correct. So that's why we need to use a certain tool which a non-tech guy or tech functional guy can handle and utilize it. That's why directly the scripting and all we don't use it, because it is everybody will not be able to utilize it. Even imagine you are creating it for some XYZ business customer. Can they understand that? That's another point, correct? You today you will script, you will code and go to the other project, other company. How the other people will handle? For that, they need to have another set of developer to understand your code only. That's why they use a standard tool, and that makes their life easier. So that's the rationale behind it. So there are use cases you need to explore that. Companies are paying license cost. So I already highlighted why license cost, because it is giving some services license. There is a rationale behind license cost. If there is any cost, there is a service they are providing. It's not free. They are maybe providing support 24 into support, documentation. They are helping you to create use cases. That's why they are charging for that. It's not free of cost, correct? And no company will free for pay for that. Also they are putting special skill set, other technology to create certain special features for you, which your team may not be able to do that. So these are the context comes in why it is chargeable, why you are using licensing tool and not for open source. There is a rationale behind it, and that's the, I think it is clarified the point which I highlighted. Now, can companies finally realize this use case and eventually can see the job requirement Python ETL developer, Python automation developer? See, when they look for any kind of, first of all, there is no open right away role like this. Okay, even if it is there by default, they are expecting that you must have some kind of exposure of XYZ programming. So SQL, let's say Python, you must have exposure to this, or let's say R, whichever is get consumed within this ETL environment. That exposure by default they're expecting it, correct? So of course, if they are expecting it, there are a requirement to it. Let me interpret the question correctly. Can the company finally realize this use case and eventually can we see the job requirement? It is there, it is internally. So you know what happened, this ETL folks, whoever is associated, these are like what they're doing. They're doing data wrangling. Understand what is the volume of task we get in this. It is not that much volume, okay? It is not. So entire. So this is very interesting logic came in my mind. Why there is not much you are hearing about these pointers. Wait, give me a second. Okay, so here, why you are not hearing this much? There is a rationale behind it, because what this ETL tool is doing in a company, in a process, I have five processes. I have five processes. These five processes being consumed or processes, they have certain data. All this data is compressed by one analysis team or one analytics team or XYZ BI team. And that BI team handling these many teams processes. And they are doing a ETL task. And this ETL task is not always get changes, correct? It is one time activity. You did it and maybe in 6 months or 1 year, it will not get changed. Even it will get changed, you will just do some tweaking in one particular parameter, not the all parameter. So that's the context. So in that context, imagine if 100 people are processing, and in BI tool there are five team member. One team member is ETL guy who is handling. Maybe I don't know. Maybe five team member handling, and BI tool team they have 20 people. Okay, against every 100, I'm saying less. Okay, it should be minimum 500. In 500, whatever data is getting generated, 20 people of BI team is handling. Under that, five people are team is ETL handling ETL. So now what kind of demand you are looking for? You need to look into demand which is higher, which is more usability. ETL is in that kind of shape. So That you need to really realize that why it is not in that much, you are not hearing, maybe it is there but it is less number. What is the rationale between less number? The reason is this, because it is a sub to sub task, and that is also not that frequent. That is also, if I say from BI team any Python guy can handle this ETL task, so will they have a separate team for ETL only? They will not have it. That's the rationale. I hope this is also clear for you. Okay, so why are companies not going to open source tool and automation tool on ATL? So I already mentioned this point, that because they need stability, they need a dedicated support, they need R&D on that particular tool. That is a small company, they don't have that much resource that they will create a tool, they will create it, they will build a team, and that team will be doing R&D, the team will be doing xyz activity, the team will manage it, the team will apply in other enterprise processes. These activity is very difficult for one team to handle, so that's why they enroll a tool, because whatever managing cost of these activity, if they enroll a tool is equivalent or maybe less than that, so that's why they go for the tool, and all this processing or operation cost will be saved, and they will only use this tool across it. And also these tools are so simple that anybody can manage, they don't need a specific technology in order to drive it. That's the rationale. That's why the open source tool, if they go there, that is a specific specialized technique or education or insight they required to drive it. That's the rationale behind it. I hope it is clear. Moving to the next question. Takes us through a Python use case. For that, you had experience. There are many I can actually highlight, but I think it will be little longer session in order to do that. But I can give you a couple of contextual example, where not we are using it. So this is, so if I alter this question, y- there is a answer. They said, take us through a Python use case that you have experience with. Okay, fair enough. The answer would be like this. So first of all, Python is a general purpose language. This is, you guys need to know, or whoever is watching this should be aware. So it is like, why Python, why not other programming? On that time I observed this. The answer what I'm going to do, I learned actually on that, against that question, that why Python, why not other tool. So Python is a general utility question. So in general utility means literally you can utilize in anywhere. So I'll say Python. So Python I can literally use to create a website, create a mobile app, create a API, create a data science project, data visualization project, for deep learning, for a file operation, for managing operating system. No, sorry, not operating system. I mean to say networking, OS management. I will rather say not operating system. I will rather say not operating system yet. Okay, but I never know how the future look like. So, okay, web, mobile app, data science, data visualization, deep learning, file management. Apart from that, I will say computer vision. Computer vision also we are using it. For email also we are using it. Correct. Apart from that, we are using it for mm, for networking. There is a package is there. For mobile app also we have started developing mobile app with this. But there is for networking also, there are certain packages are there. System, so with system packages, you can actually literally control all the aspect of a system and control everything. So literally you can do that. So imagine a program which can spread across these many, I will say, okay, these many streams. So how much scope it is creating by default? And there are tons of use case. I don't need to just, if you search Python use case, you will find it. But I'm just telling how spread it is. When you search, you also specify which kind of use case you wanted to see. It will respond you that information. So that's how you can figure this question out, guys. Okay, take us through a Python use case. So this is the broader scope, and there are these many ways actually you can consume it. So this is a very vast. So definitely there are many scopes, and you can figure it from your end as well. Last question which we have: how did you integrate that into your business process? There are many ways. I am personally using Python. I will show you. In fact, I will highlight you. By default, I'm learning data science. I'm using Python there, which is first answer coming in my mind. So I'm learning this data science. So by default, I'm using Python there. So apart from that, in my work, I work with unstructured data. So in unstructured data, if any data I have to data wrangling part, then I use regex of regex of with Python, we consume it. If I have to do any file operation, use Python there in my day-to-day life. Apart from that, if I have also consumed in, let's say, image optimization. So I have certain images which is not correct. So in order to, so image optimization. So if I have to optimize it, on that time also I use Python. So these are the real scenario. What else am I missing? Anything? Yeah, automation also, there are certain stages for automation also we use. I'm just, let me recall. Mm, yeah, fine, transferring fine, we used it. Yeah. There are many, okay, many. So Excel operation we can literally do with Python. There is no challenge as such. We did certain area of a complex Excel operation with Python. And apart from that, I'm just missing. Yeah, this is very critical, which is JSON. JSON file consume and API creation. API have not personally worked, but I know it can be done 100% with this. But this is consuming this also we have done with Python. So these are the actions we have achieved with Python in a practical scenario as of now. And I know beyond this is just a, I will say, scratch what I have done. There are many other things can be done and need to explore further. So I'll pause here. I think I have covered as much possible from my end. I'll pause here for anybody if you have any questions. So did I cover every point, or do you see any other open question is there? Over to you.
No, I think we have covered everything. Actually, if we start talking about something in deeper, I mean, it's going to be a longer session, so it will have to be broken out into a lot of sessions. So
Correct.
for now, I
Any
think
critical
everything
point
has
in a
been
context we need
covered.
to discuss? But any critical point in a context we discuss now? Any critical point which you are missing?
Critical point, let's say, regarding that automation part, I was actually hoping for an understanding of how Python can fit into an RPA professional's life, or Python can fit into a business, an ETL business intelligence engineer's life. And how, I mean, the percentage, I mean, if you see the job market right now, and if you do a Python, and I mean, this is a good analysis that we can do actually if we have the data. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if we can get job data, but we should do something like this. We have to look for Python, the Python searches, and the related tags like Python searches in with business engineer role, Python searches with data science role. We'll certainly see the data science portion of it, like about 70%. I think business data engineer roles are evolving now. There are more data engineer roles. So, I mean, what else can be there? There is also web development role, but I have not seen much of web development roles with Python as a job market. I mean, that's maybe because I'm not a web developer myself. So I wanted your opinion on that, like the percentage, the spread of Python among the job markets.
Yeah. I think this is a very good point, and we can actually go beyond. We can have an entire different conversation, in this, and I will save this topic for our future talk or future connect to discuss that how exactly. But there is already research. I'll bring those that particular research, and I will highlight it here so that you can actually have a clearly you can see there is a Stack Overflow research on Python consumption. If I'm not wrong, it's Stack Overflow only. I will brought this in, and we can go through this. And why don't I search right now if it is handy? Just give me a sec. Okay. So go to uh, Python. I will say it was, I think, survey. I don't know. Let me see. I just recall that it was, so it is clearly mentioned. I am not sure. Stack Overflow developer circle. Okay. So here, this is one. So this is 19, but let's see if we find out the latest one. We can check that out. And in this, there were very clear picture that which stack is being used for which kind of project. So development survey 2019, 19 also. I not find latest one. You guys can refer it. I will also search it. But these many people actually voted it for you, voted for this particular survey. And key result what they found: Python, the fastest growing major programming language, has. So these many people. It's not that one person opinion they have actually declared this result. So these many people actually given vote, and based on that what survey they declare, they know these are the, I will rather request. So this is the your answer, that where exactly which geography using most, very detailed developer role, which kind of developer roles are there, developer full stack, these many, back end, front end, fine, developer mobile developer, how much percentage they required in all responses. Okay, then US also you can go, and gender wise also you can find out DevOps how much specialization required. They have categorized as well. They have categorized, okay, yes, okay, scientist, engineer, how much percentage they are using, in which profession they are using, and which percentage programming they are consuming. If you go in detail, you will be able to see it. Controlling open source, how much open source they are using. Never use 36%, yes. Less than once per year, 28% people use open source. Less than once in a month, but once per year, 23 people. Once month, more often, 12.4%. So contributing to open source, these many people are contributing. Never contributing so many people. And okay, coding as a hobby, how many people are pursuing as a hobby? 80% people. So experience, years since learning the code, how many people, what is the bucket of experience people are there? 5 years experience, 20%. 5 to 9 years, 31%. All the people. So this is a very fair, good, I will say, analysis to go through. So it will give you a exposure of a landscape, that how the language is spread across, what kind of, there are so many categories. Even I cannot expect, or I cannot even tell you that what kind of, they have literally brainstorm. And again, it is a data driven guys. So you can relate it, that it is again data driven. So years coding professionally, how many people are, 41% of people, they have less than 5 years coding experience in this, as per the survey. So imagine, this is a very good insight, correct? So if you talk to any person, most likely they are within this much programming background, if they are still in development, because beyond that they either manage, move to managerial profession, or they actually develop products. Okay, so that's how you can see this much experience is this many, this many, they are still in development, this much experience. There are very few people, but they are, I will not say developer, they are scientists. They research new things, or they bring in, maybe, I don't know. But that's how you can see your professional coding experience for developer type, which type of experience, senior executive VP, how much required. For VP, if you wanted to become senior executive VP, engineering manager, engineer site, okay. So it is completely educator minimum, you require this much experience. DevOps specialist is this much experience. So for which role you need how much experience, they are also highlighting that also. It is a very good insight. If you are looking for, let's say, designer, in a typical years of professional coding experience per developer type, they, this is again a statistic, but you need to read this out in order to understand this data correctly. Writing that first line of code, okay, younger than 10 years. And this is very interesting, when they actually wrote their first code, correct? So this is very good statistics, I will rather say. That also you can see there are so many people who wrote their first code. I will check in this bucket, after 30, these many people. Most of the people learn coding in this area, this age, 12 to 19, they start their coding journey in this age. Most of the people, as per the survey concern, as per as the survey concern, this is what the statistics saying. So I think I am exceptional here. I'm falling into this area. I'm learning, so I'm falling into this area, which is not bad, I think. So cool, correct. Education, full time. How manage developer and student? How many developer are student? How many developers are student? Very interesting. How many developers are actually students still? They consider themselves as student. So full time 18%, and part time is this. So how detail? And I think there must be programming and
It's
undergrad.
actually strange to see such a higher number of no, because all developers are students, I thought.
That's what na. So yeah, developer student, no, they are considering, but they don't know companies are asking them to learn by default. So they don't know. They are tricked actually. They have
Exactly.
through the way you thought the question dimension. But this is very interesting, I think. Interesting to observe, correct? Then so many, see, this is just, see, look at the cursor, okay? Wait. So it can be an entire session to discuss all these parameter, and you will be surprised when you will walk through this, that how many parameter a data can be. I'm since I'm studying it, I can, by this survey, I can see how many ways I can think of a data. I mean, how many ways I can dimension, I can ask a question. so that I can define this percentage. Even isn't it amazing? So yeah, see here, developer roles and Gartner, DevOps specialist, okay. So relative, so you can see engineering. I don't know. We need to analyze what they are representing. How many people are okay? Less is this, less than 10,000 and 25x. I don't know. Maybe experience they are talking about. Experience and sorry, gender. Sorry, sorry, this is gender. Developer roles and gender. So which gender and which role they are doing. This is very so based on genders, men and women. They are highlighting in this way. See, have a look. So they are highlighting men and women. How much? What is the experience and gender? So less than five. How many women are actually now? See, the percentage is really good, really really good. So they are learning coding. Women's are also and see, men's are also learning. So if you say 30, 20, 20, so a total 60. Correct. So approx, I'll say yeah, 30, 70%, approx 80% till 90 years. And if I go here, 32, 32, 60 here only, and 14 only they are leading. Just imagine 75 and approx same. This is interesting, correct? So that's how they are growing. Then other than what, based on orientation also it is given. Then disability, okay, age wise, okay, I'm falling in. Oh, 19% people are in this age who are in development or programming. See, fair enough. And these many, I think, see, still it's not one of the peak. I will rather say, if you are in this age group, you are in the right stack in order to explore and work on programming and learn and adopt, I think. So yeah, these are interesting data, correct? Okay, age and experience by country. Oh, this is good. In top there, Australian folks are there. Then US, UK, Canada. Where is? Okay, India is this, but don't worry. I think more critical role we are only playing. Maybe I don't know, but I think because yeah, more critical activities are initially when it goes demands comes to this place only. So you can check this out. And again, they have backup data as well. And what is the margin? So you can see what is the meaning of this age and experience by country. So what we said, developer on Stack Overflow are older with more experience in Australia. Okay. So the data is like the more older developers are there in this region, the younger developers are in this region. So that's amazing, correct? Just imagine, okay? Western Europe and North America, and the younger with less experience in the region like India. And so more and more people are learning the program
Hmm.
in these regions.
I can tell you about one guy. I mean, he was an inspiration for me. I worked with him like 2 years back. He was in the Navy, and people actually say behind his back that he was in a secret air service team.
Mhm.
So he was from a UK, and when he retired from the Navy, he started learning SQL, VBA macros, and he is now leading the data and engineering team at one of the biggest companies. So,
Oh,
I mean, I mean, literally, he's an example of age no bar.
exactly, yeah.
He's 60. He's 60.
Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. That's interesting. That's what I'm saying, correct? Literally, you can do okay. You just start. Don't no, don't go for any naysaying. So just start evaluation. So many. If I go, it will be huge. But we must go through this. Then we'll understand the context that how variety they have captured this. So also they've given how many responses? 68,000 people given response on this. How much time does Stack Overflow save developer? 10 to this minutes 20, mostly 30 minutes it saves. Minimum they are saying Stack Overflow. I know it is beyond that. I know they say 30 minutes, then they quote it. Hey, this took 2 hours to solve it, but they found that answer in Stack Overflow. I think this is okay, more than 16%. Oh, they mention it. Okay, awesome. So yeah, this is interesting. So is there any connection? Why don't developer participate in Stack Overflow? Problem, need, failed, never. How it is connected? We need to analyze it. So this is very good, I will say, also observation for us to go through this data and find out that how exactly all these are relevant. Very interesting. Okay, a lot of it. Prospective. See how many. Even I never thought of couple of prospective they are presenting that it can be analyzed. Now the question I am asking myself, how they capture this survey? Was it I need to participate in this survey and check this is in community they have captured it related to community hours worked per week. How much? Less than 30 hours. This many people. Most 40 to 44 hours, these many people. They should also mention which geography they are from. We'll get to know that. Maybe in some graph it is mentioned salary and experience by language. Amazing. This is awesome, correct? So okay, so if I am, so imagine Python developer, okay, and I have how much below 8 years experience, on an average 60,000 salary in dollar. So if it is grows, it is this highlighted area. I think it is saying growth only. So okay, based on size also 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, based on size also. So Python is this way. R is above that because it's niche. A lot of people are focusing on Python right now, and also less experience. They are actually getting more than that, around 65K. Python is around between 60 to 65K. And again, Sail, PowerShell, these are growth. What is the highest one? Highest one, F sharp, you can see. But again, but what I will say, less time and more experience. So Go developer, look at this. So 8 to 9 years, you will get $80,000. Go developer, 8 to 9 years experience, you'll get $80,000 on an average. Scala. So it is giving a good insight. So VBA, if you know, you can expect $55,000 with 9+ years experience in VBA. SQL, if you know, this is good, 30. You can see here. So it is less than just, I will say 57 on that range. And you need to have experience of 8 to 9. And between, I will say rather 7. No, 8 to 9. Yeah, 8.5 or like that. So yeah, so this is a very good chart to analyze and have that clarity, correct? So I think this is worth going. I will add this in the chat and folks can refer it as well. I will pause here. Any question?
Not for me.
Awesome. Okay, we'll see. Connect with some more interesting fact and pointers in future, guys. Thank you for your time and participating with us. Thank you so much. See you in. See you later.
Thank you.